I am going to answer a viewer question. And even though it's a single person asking the question, it really pertains to married people who are already married anyway. And this person writes, how can I recognize or become conscious of my unspoken expectations of my boyfriend, future spouse, and then communicate those expectations with him? And he with me. Okay, the second half is easier at communicating your expectations with that person. Once you know what they are, conversations. It really is just conversations. Even if you have a list and you're able to say, look, I did this list. I did a recent video that talked about expectations and how do you choose and traits. And so I talked about this list that you should make of your ideal mate and then put it in priority order and then put a line on your non-negotiable. So that's, if you have that list, that's the easy part, communicating to them. The hard part of this question is a question for all of us for all time. Is that how do I become aware of my unconscious expectations and how do they become aware of them? So part of this is just time and maturity. Sorry, time and maturity, being in relationships, which means if you're single, you've got to date. You've got to experience people. You've got to know, oh, I dated this guy, and this doesn't mean sleeping with people. It means at least hanging out. You can use your friendships. What do you like about your friendships? When you talk to people, when you hang around people, and you don't even have to be dating per se. You hang around a person, you watch a person. I'd like you to watch other relationships that you like. Why do you like that one? Why do you like what do you like about that man? Well, I like how he speaks to his friends. I like how he speaks to his mom. I like how, so you see in this situation, you need to actually see him interact with his mom, which is why I'm saying a lot of singles today cut people out immediately. Oh, you don't have this on my list. Guess what? You're not perfect either. And they're looking at you the same way. So you two imperfect people need to watch each other and, okay, we're going to work through this. You can change, you can work through things. But this becoming conscious part, always writing down things that you have noticed, looking at other relationships. What do you like about that relationship? And do you expect that? Another valuable thing to do is what are relationships that you watch that you don't want to be like? I don't want to be in a relationship where this happens or where that happens. But I will tell you, because we are not God, there are always going to be subconscious expectations. I didn't realize that I really had a need for me. I didn't realize how I used to always say, I love intellectually stimulating conversation. But I didn't realize when I was dating my husband, boyfriend, how great a need I had for conversation, that communication would be so high on my list. And when he didn't have that skill, it was hard. But we had to work through it. We did go to counselors and be expecting of the fact that good marriages do go see counselors. Really, even my super couples. Now, a more tangible way of becoming aware of your subconscious expectations are to listen to other people. What are the things that other people say about you or about others? So for instance, well, I noticed, Sally, that you're not comfortable or you're not good with people who are, I could just say, X. But they may notice that, when you're around people who do this, you get more irritable. So we, as a community, as a body of Christ, we need the input of others. And they may point things out about you that you weren't even aware of. And that may help you understand what your expectations are. I will tell you this. So many people have an issue with arranged marriages. I've talked with people in arranged marriages, many of them. And I used to think that, oh, pick this guy, pick this girl, throw them together. These kids are like, our parents love us way too much to do that. They take into consideration our personalities. They take into consideration things that we wouldn't have thought about. And of course, in those cultures, it's like, I just learn this is a good man or this is a good woman because my parents helped me make that decision. Then we learn to love one another, which I can do a million more videos on that. There's actually an Asian phrase that says American marriages start out hot and end up cool, but Asian marriages start out cool and end up hot. So I'm not going to negate what I said in some of my other videos that you just have to be open to the dynamic nature of life and of relationships and of humans and of people. Know that you will not know your subconscious expectations until they appear. And that may be after you're married. So my biggest question is, are you willing to take the risk or would you rather play it safe? Some people are like, just would rather be safe. Then your vocation is singleness. And that's okay because God needs singles. But if you're willing to say, you know what, I'm willing to take a risk, and you go back to one of my previous videos I talked about, if I'm with someone who seeks to be virtuous, and then we'll work through this. But ultimately, the only criteria that has shown all the test of time on all social science studies, the one criteria, the singular criteria that guarantees a long-term marriage is when the people enter the marriage saying, I will not divorce. It's not an option. And they believe that with their soul. Both people believe that with their soul. And then they work through everything. That was kind of what it took for me and my husband. It just wasn't an option. I didn't want to do that to my kids. I didn't like the stigma. I didn't like any of it. And I knew that marriages were indissoluble and I didn't want to be in sin. I didn't want to sin against God. So which one are you? Are you the risk taker? Or are you the person who's just going to play it safe? All decisions come with risk. But if you trust God and you keep your eyes fixed on God, He's going to work you through any of the difficulties you encounter. The nature of these questions that I have here are people kind of always looking for this perfect answer, this perfect fit, and voila, that's not going to happen. Sorry. So I hope this helps. If you have any other questions, these are a lot of questions I'm reading from singles. But if you're a married person and you have questions about how to maintain a happy long-term marriage, go ahead and ask those as well. Ask questions about how do you know if you should be a priest or if you should be married. I can help. I'm Dr. Christine Bacon. Thanks for watching Breakfast with Bacon. And as always, I want to remind you to live your life sunny side up.